Everybody, it's time for us to take the next logical step in the progression of the Best Team series. I know what you might be thinking. What weird idea did my Herd of Miltank come up with this time? Well, actually, I decided to finally go into the Best Team series and build a team that isn't held back by the usual parameters of how these teams go. That means we're going to have egg moves where applicable, we're now going to have legendary Pokemon, and we're going to have trait evolutions. If you could feasibly do it before beating the champion, it's on the table. The only thing that will still be unable to be used are post-game tutor moves and TMs. But aside from that, it's full steam ahead. Today, we'll be starting off in Kanto, and I'll be going with Fire Red and Leaf Green this time. I wanted to offer myself a more fleshed out experience while keeping in Kanto, so I decided to go with this tried and true game. Now with this one, obviously the egg moves are off the table, since we can't breed our Pokemon until the post-game. That's alright though, as Legends and Trait Evolutions are still very much capable, and trust me, I took advantage of that. Let's hop into things with a starter and go from there. So we've got to start this best team, of course, with the best starter available to you in Fire Red and Leaf Green, Venusaur. As always, you can start off with Bulbasaur right out of the gate and get started on your journey through Kanto. By the time it hits level 16, we'll have an Ivysaur, and then at level 32, Venusaur will make its appearance known. It's honestly really cool the way that it works out, being able to get Venusaur that early instead of waiting until level 36 like so many other starter Pokemon. I don't think I really need to sell you guys on what makes Venusaur the best of the gang in these games, so I'll just keep this part short. It dominates through most of the gym battles and a great amount of Elite Forest Pokemon. That's really all it needs to do, and that's what makes it top tier. Well, that in base 100 special attack and special defense, but you already knew that. The moves that Venusaur has today are Giga Drain, Leech Seed, Sleep Powder, and Earthquake. That's a pretty hard-hitting moveset, and thankfully for us, they're incredibly easy to get. Giga Drain is the best Grass-type move we can do on Venusaur this time around, beating out other options like Razor Leaf and Solar Beam. Petal Dance would have been a great option, but unfortunately, we can't get egg moves prior to the post-game like I mentioned earlier. So the Giga Drain TM obtained from beating Erica will have to do. So next, we have Leech Seed and Sleep Powder. The former learned at level 7, and the latter at level 15. The idea running both of those moves together is to of course put a Pokemon to sleep, and then set up Leech Seed, so that Venusaur can get residual damage done while constantly healing between the Leech Seed and the Giga Drain. It's also just a great option in case the Pokemon we're up against is like a Fire, Steel, or Flying type, which aren't affected that much by Grass types. Though, in the case of Flying types, we can't hit them with the last move on this set either, Earthquake. We'll get that via TM, which is given to us by Giovanni when we beat him for our final gym badge. So, with these moves, Venusaur will be able to do well against Brock's entire team, Misty's entire team, Giovanni's entire team, Lorelei's entire team except for Jinx, also be careful of Ice-type attacks, Bruno's duo of Onix, Agatha's Arbok, and finally Blue's Rhydon. Now, I think the important thing worth bringing up with Venusaur is that it does a great job tanking hits. It's going to handle Lieutenant Surge, Erica, and Koga very well in that regard, just taking hits. Albeit, at least in the case of Erica, it won't be able to do anything back. That being said, there's a lot of respect for Venusaur during the Indigo Challenge, as it plays an important role in handling a majority of Pokemon one way or another. So, we've got to take advantage of the lack of restrictions at some point. So, how about we do so with Alkhazam? It's a trait evolution, so it hasn't qualified for most best teams up to this point. And unfortunately, I never found a place for it on any Sword and Shield team. So this is definitely Alkhazam's time to shine. And in a region like Kanto, it'll benefit greatly. We're going to need to capture an Abra on Route 24 after dispatching the Nugget Bridge Trainers. Now, fair warning, catching Abra can be a bit of a pain, since it uses teleport and whatnot, so expect to have to try once or twice to capture it. It'll evolve at level 16, and from there, we can go ahead and just evolve it again. And boom, we've got an Alkhazam right then and there if we choose to immediately trade our Kadabra. It's got nuts 135 base special attack and 120 speed. So, like, could you imagine having that against Misty? It's honestly insane that they basically let us have Alkhazam that early in the game. I kind of love it actually. Even if it is just using Confusion, it's gonna destroy anything and anyone. But let's take a look at the final moveset. We've got Psychic, Calm Mind, Thief, and Double Team on Alkhazam here. So right off the bat, we have got the most powerful move Alkhazam has access to. old reliable Psychic. It learns the move via level up at level 36, so that allows us to save the TM for Mr. Psychic and use it for a different team member. As a complementary piece to just how good Alkhazam is specially, we've got access to Calm Mind at level 33, just before we get Psychic. It's going to raise Alkhazam's special stats by a stage, which will pay off big when we're just one-shotting everything with Psychic. Next up, we have Thief, which of course is a special move in the 3rd generation, and that provides Alkhazam with a nice bit of coverage for both Ghost and other Psychic types, though the only Ghost types they'll ever see are with the Psychic anyway. The TM for Thief can be found in Mount Moon, near Team Rocket Grunt. Finally, we've got Double Team, which could be used to practically make Alkhazam untouchable, as one can imagine that it will be able to dip and dodge just about any move and hit back hard with its Calm Mind boosted stats. This Alkhazam is set up to tear apart the Kanto region, so let's just see how well it'll do with its super effective moves. Alkhazam is going to use Psychic moves in Thief to do well against Erika's Victory Bell and Vileplume, Koga's entire team, Sabrina's entire team, Giovanni's Nidoking and Nidoqueen, Lorelei Slowbro, Bruno's Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Machamp, Agatha's entire team, and Blue's Alkhazam and Exeggutor. You guys can see all those Pokemon Alkhazam does well against. Now imagine all of the other Pokemon it can just destroy after being set up with a single Calm Mind, and in some cases, not set up at all. Trust me folks, we'll be using Alkhazam for a lot more than just battles, I can assure you that much. Let's keep rolling using these no restriction rules and pull out another Pokemon we wouldn't normally end up using, Zapdos. That is right, we are using a legendary Pokemon right now on the best team. I can't even believe it. The only times we've ever used a legendary on best teams were for special gimmick teams, but that's really it. So we're going to get Zapdos as early as after we save Mr. Fuji, and when we grab it, we'll be having ourselves an overleveled Pokemon for most of the challenge. I like to avoid that, but when it comes to using a legendary, we just can't. We'll need to get Surf and head on down to the power plant on Route 10, and then fight our way to the back of the exit where we'll encounter Zapdos and try our hardest to capture it. So once it is captured, we'll have a Pokemon with base 100 speed and 125 special attack. It's going to be awesome to use, and just experience a legendary live and in color during our gym challenge. Let's get into the moveset and see just how good this electric Pokemon is. The moves that we've got on Zapdos are Fly, Thunderbolt, Drill Peck, and Steel Wing. We open with Fly as a very obvious move to have, as we'd like some help getting around the region. Since we get Fly right around the same time we can have access to Zapdos really, we'll be able to throw it on as soon as we capture it. Next, we have Thunderbolt, which we've got to get from the Celadon Game Corner for a decent amount of coins. All I can say is thank God for the VS Seeker. Then, we have Drill Peck, which Zapdos should already have on it when we capture it, since it's a move learned at level 49. Then, to close things out and offer some coverage for its weaknesses, we have Steel Wing, and that's a TM we can find in the Safari Zone. Like I said, a great move for coverage against ice and rock types for sure. So, with these moves, what is Zapdos going to do for us? Well, it's going to be able to do well against Sabrina's Venomoth, a good chunk of Lorelei's team, Bruno's entire team, Agatha's Golbat, Lance's Gyarados and Aerodactyl, and Blue's entire team except for Alkhazam. So, yeah, like, Zapdos is going to be pretty incredible in the Elite Four and against the champion, without a doubt. Also, much like with Alkhazam, it's just explosive in power, so it doesn't even need to constantly be only fighting Pokemon it does super effective damage against. Zapdos will be leaned on as it's overleveled, and is just a great legend. It's gonna make things pretty easy. Alright, so next up, we'll get into Pokemon we tend to see on teams like this, starting off with Dugtrio. I decided to put it on over Nidoking due to the nature of this team and the amount of coverage I was already getting from the Pokemon we selected. Dugtrio just worked better this time around, and I was happy to include it after having it on the Red and Blue Best team last week. So we can get Dugtrio pretty easily. Diglett's Cave is right next to Vermilion City, and in it, we have a chance to just catch Diglett, or go a step beyond and hunt around until we find a wild Dugtrio. Dugtrio has got base 80 attack and 120 speed, so it can hit alright and definitely outspeed most of the competition. Plus, I mean, come on. We know exactly why it's great to have access to right outside of Vermilion City. I want to get into its moveset now, because that's really where we'll see just how much Dugtrio shines. So, on this moveset for Dugtrio, we have the always beloved Earthquake, followed by Rock Slide, Aerial Ace, and Toxic. So Earthquake, since we gave the TM to Venusaur, will need to be learned later on by Dugtrio at level 51. That's all good though, as it has Magnitude and Dig at its disposal while waiting for Earthquake, so it's still gonna have some decent ground type stab while we wait. Next, we have Rock Slide, which is so easy to get, learning it through a move tutor in the Rock Tunnel on the way to Lavender Town. Then, there's Aerial Ace, which is a TM found on Route 9, and that offers some nice coverage for those dastardly grass types. And then finally, I decided Toxic would be appropriate on Dugtrio, since it's pretty fast, and it can get put on just about any Pokemon safely, which could possibly help out big against the Pokemon that might be giving us trouble in our journey. All in all, there's nothing wrong with having access to a move like Toxic. Now, with these moves, Dugtrio will be able to do well against Lieutenant Surge's entire team, Erika's entire team, just be very careful, Koga's entire team, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine's entire team, Giovanni's entire team except for his own Dugtrio, Lorelei's entire team except for Slowbro, but I wouldn't bother, Bruno's entire team, Agatha's Arbok and Crobat, Lance's entire team except for the Dragonair, and finally Blue's Pidgeot, Rhydon, Gyarados, and Charizard. As we can see here, Dugtrio is an absolute boss on the playing field, and can definitely hold its own with this powerful moveset regardless of what it is going up against. Alright, next we have another usual suspect for these best teams, and it is one of the water Pokemon of choice for Fire Red and Leaf Green that is easy to get your hands on, Lapras. So we are going with the tried and true veteran of some best teams in Lapras, and it's still super great to use. We can get it during the battle with Team Rocket inside of Silph Co. As one of the Silph employees will just dump it on you. So it'll be level 25, and will of course need to be trained up a bit afterward. But still, it'll be great right away. And of course, we'll be able to have Surf already before you get it, if you decide to go explore the Safari Zone prior to going into Silph Co to take out the Rockets. So, with this nice water ice type in the ranks, what moves must it have access to? I decided on making Lapras a nice coverage Pokemon, with Surf and Ice Beam holding down the fort from a stab standpoint, and then Psychic and Shockwave for some coverage. Surf, like I mentioned prior, is found in the Safari Zone, and is a great bit of water stab for this majestic creature. Then, we have Ice Beam, which is learned at level 31, and I definitely appreciate the fact that such a good move is learned by level up, and doesn't need to be required from the game corner. Next, we have Psychic, and if you remember from when I was talking about Alkhazam, you'll recall I said we'd have the Psychic TM left over for a future Pokemon, and this is it. Finally, we have Shockwave, and I know some of you are probably going to comment down below and say, Mystic doesn't know what he's talking about, why is he making this thing have Shockwave? Well, to be fair, viewer, Thunderbolt can be kind of tedious to get, as you gotta get it from the Celadon. However, if you want to be an overachiever and go get it, by all means, fine. I'm just trying to make your life easier, so don't yell at me, okay? Shockwave can be obtained by defeating Lieutenant Surge and earning his gym badge. It's a nice bit of coverage for other water types for sure. Lapras is going to be able to use these moves to do well against Koga's entire team, Sabrina's Venomoth, Blaine's entire team, Giovanni's entire team, Lorelei's entire team except for Jinx, Bruno's entire team, Agatha's entire team, Lance's entire team, and Blue's entire team except for Alkhazam. From the moment we get that Lapras, we're going to tear through almost every single battle that we have left with it. It's nothing short of amazing how this moveset allows it to just destroy everybody it comes into contact with. I honestly didn't think fully about just how phenomenal Lapras would be in this position, despite all the times I've used it before. Alright, time that we wrap up this best team with the most obvious Pokemon I could have included. My main man, Peter Griffin, aka Snorlax. I love putting this thing on the team for a reason, and that's due to the great versatility of it as an attacker. I can throw so many different moves on this thing in a playthrough, and it can definitely live up to my expectations each and every time. We can get it pretty easily by using the Pokeflute to awaken either the one block in the Cycling Road or the one on Route 12. It's going to be a nice capture, and then you'll get to have leftovers upon capturing it, which is pretty awesome. Oh, and as a Chestoberry. Well, that sucks. In almost every single game that Snorlax appears as an option to capture, it's gonna be holding the leftovers, or at least have a chance of doing so. But this time, it's forced to have a Chestoberry. Come on, dude. That's a bunch of
Tauros manure.
Well, I guess we'll just have to get on with this moveset and deal with the disappointment. Alright, the moveset for our final team member is Strength, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, and Fire Blast. I had to give Strength up to Snorlax here, because it simply is a great stab move that is needed to get through the game at a certain point, so it just works. You can find the HM for it in Fuchsia when you give the Warden his teeth back. Then, we have Shadow Ball, which needs to be bought at the Celadon Game Corner for a nominal fee. And it's going to give Snorlax a nice move to use if it finds itself in a battle with Gengar. Then, we've got Brick Break, which is very important, and it is to be bought from the Celadon City Department Store. We need that, and you'll find out why shortly. Though if you remember, you can actually get it from the SS Sand before that, so grab it there to have it earlier and for free. Finally, there's Fire Blast, which I just decided to throw on here since we have no fire type moves on the team at all, and I had to give Snorlax something. Its special attack isn't as good as its attack, but that's honestly fine. So with these moves, Snorlax will be able to do well against Sabrina's entire team except for her Venomoth, Giovanni's Rhydon and Rhyhorn, and including the Kangaskhan from the battle in Silphco thanks to Brick Break, Lorelei's entire team, Bruno's duo of Onix, Agatha's two Gengar and Haunter, and finally Blue's Rhydon, Alkhazam, and Exeggutor. Snorlax's fighting and fire type moves bring that last little bit of coverage we really needed to make this team well-rounded, and I'm pretty glad to have brought it on board once again. Alright, that's gonna do it for this best team featuring no restrictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me tell you, I have plenty of ideas for future games depending on if you guys have a good time with this or not. This team, I think, is pretty good, and I just know it'll be fun to do this again. So let me know what you guys think about this one in the comments down below, and leave some likes so I know to keep this version of the best team going. So with that said, thank you to everyone for watching the video. Huge thanks to my phenomenal team and the amazing art done each week by Danny the Demon. I couldn't do all this without them. If you all enjoyed the video and want to see more content like this, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be sure to leave a comment too, as it really helps us out. I also do other content on my Twitch, where I stream Genshin Impact, Mystic Zora, where I do Pokemon Let's Plays and other gaming content, and of course MysticSage, where I do all anime content. Right now, I'm focusing on Inuyasha and Yashahime, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. If you'd like to support me even further than that, check out my Patreon. Whether it's a $1 tip to get early thumbnail access, or the $10 tier to get cool perler bead charms and a shoutout. There's tons of reasons to join today. These lovely people did, and I thank them all so much for their support. It really means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mr. Gumbrion, and I will see you all next time with some more amazing Pokemon content.